Welcome to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. And now your host, Tim Johnson.
What's it like to dismantle 2 world-scale methanol plants in Chile, put them on ships, send them to Geismar, Louisiana, reconstruct them safely, and move into operations? Louisiana native and Methanex plant manager Glynn Fontenot joins us when we return on the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.
Since 1919, we've designed and constructed hundreds of industrial plants, roads, ships, dams, and executed some of the most complex jobs in the world. In fact, our quality and dependability are legendary. Today, the legend continues as Brown & Root delivers engineering, construction, maintenance, and industrial specialty services throughout the U.S. and the world from our headquarters here in Louisiana. We are Brown & Root.
In Baton Rouge, see your Good Neighbor State Farm agent Brady Flavin for your insurance and financial needs.
For over a quarter century, Kelly's has operated with honesty, integrity, and above all, safety. Kelly's features a fleet of quality equipment operated by dedicated, safety-minded employees skilled in land clearing, above-ground right-of-way maintenance, vegetation control, station yard and manned facility maintenance, above-ground pipeline support, and more. Kelly's Industrial Services, where pipeline right-of-way maintenance gets done right.
Consumers and property owners with construction projects can have a successful result or regretful experiences that could have been avoided. Before any construction project, verify licensure of the contractor and check references. Scammers will claim to be insured or bonded, so always check first. Download our app, LA Contractor, from the Android or Apple Store. Visit our website, lacontractor.org, or contact the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors. We're here to help before things go wrong. Hire a licensed contractor. It's the law.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Very pleased to be joined by Glynn Fontenot. He is the plant manager of Methanex Geismar. Welcome, buddy.
Thank you, Tim. Good to be here with you again.
Glad you are. You were on the television show once before. You've been on the radio show a couple of times. But let's remind our viewers about the Methanex Corporation, its history, and its overall global impact.
Sure. Yeah, Methanex has been around since the early 90s. Unlike a lot of other chemical companies around here, the only product we produce is methanol. We are the global leader in production and supply of methanol across the world. We are truly a global company. We have 6 manufacturing locations. Those locations are in places like New Zealand and Egypt, in Canada, Trinidad, and Chile, and our 6th and newest location is here in Geismar, Louisiana. We're headquartered out of Vancouver, Canada, and we have marketing and logistics offices all over the world. We have large terminals, large storage terminals, one of which is in Geismar now, all over the world. And something a little bit unique about our chemical company is we have our own fleet of ships, a wholly owned subsidiary that consists of 18 ships that provide our product across the world from all of our plants.
When you control those logistics, I guess it makes you a little bit more competitive maybe against some of the other folks who out there may be in the same product line, and that maybe that's the thinking there in owning the own ships?
Sure, it makes us much more agile in getting our product across the world. We control and we own those shipping vessels, so it just provides a lot of advantages to us in being a good supplier, reliable supplier to our customers.
I mentioned in the open that you guys have now relocated 2 world-scale methanol plants from Chile. So you dismantled them there, you put them on ships, you sent them to Geismar, Louisiana, you reconstructed them safely. Walk us through that process. What's it been like? How successful your team has been, how safe your team has been. Talk a little bit about why Geismar was chosen and then the construction process.
Sure. Yeah, it's amazing, Tim. Even today, when I walked through the plant and I watched it being constructed. I watched the whole process happen, and I still, question how did man do this? And just a very successful project, very unique in that we relocated our plant in very large pieces. There have been relocation projects in the past, and typically you don't take the pipe racks, the big, large steel structures that are in the plant. You usually remove all of the piping and remove the pieces of equipment one at a time, and maybe truck them over or rail them over. So our process was we actually dismantled the plant in very, very large sections, as big as a 2 or 3 story building, and then put them on what we call crawlers. These are these wheeled transportation devices. Loaded them onto ships over in Chile, and this is the very southern tip of Chile in Fontenot, 7,500 miles away. Put it on this specialized ship that can actually partially submerge itself, and it pulls barges over the ship, and then it rebuoys, and then travels through the, the Atlantic Ocean, up the Mississippi River. It went under 5 of our Louisiana bridges up to a temporary bridge that we constructed there in Geismar. It was a full-fledged bridge that spanned the levee over River Road, landed onto our site to get the equipment down. It had to be high enough that 18-wheelers could still drive under it. I went under it many times coming to and from work. So really a special thing to watch. And then getting the equipment over these very large pieces of equipment onto our plant site where we had pre-designed and constructed foundations for it with anchor bolts. We call anchor bolts to secure the equipment, and then it goes vertical from there. So just a major project, very unique, and just a great thing to be a part of.
Your team obviously engaged in significant engineering and planning to be able to pull something off like this and do it on schedule, do it safely, do it relatively within your budget and all of those things. Talk about some of the challenges that you face, some of the greatest challenges in getting it done, because you've been successful. But we know behind every success, there's some hard work and some challenges that take place.
Sure. And Methanex has a really good model for executing these types of projects. So we really had 2 teams in parallel. One team of very experienced Methanex employees, both in project management, in engineering, and operations. So that team was really focusing on execution of this relocation project. And then what we call the manufacturing team, which I was the first member of, was brought on to hire all of the staff locally to the greatest extent possible and get that staff ready to operate a methanol plant. Then we joined up with the project team to do the commissioning of the plant and then ultimately start it up. The commissioning is a very important process. A lot of people may not understand that we don't just build these plants and open up valves and start, hit buttons on pumps and it starts running. We spent many months checking out every single piece of equipment to ensure that it comes up safely and will run very well, and we were very successful in that. So the challenges that we had was just the unique aspect of a relocation project. We worked with Jacobs Engineering was our partner, and that all went extremely well. And then on the manufacturing side, we had to hire about 160 people over the course of about a year and a half, which is that's just a lot of work in itself, and that doesn't mean you have just 160 interviews. So we had actually in excess of 2,000 interviews. Wow. For those 160 or so positions. And that's just been a great experience too. And then we had to get the entire team ready. There's not a whole lot of methanol experience in this area anymore. So get the team ready to trained, understand the process, understand all of our safety procedures and practices, and get that in place in time to get the plants going.
We've got about 30 seconds left in this segment, so let's start talking about the current state of Methanex. You've now successfully relocated 2 world-scale methanol plants, as we've talked about. Talk a little bit about, in the last 30 seconds or so that we have here, the total number of employees that you have on site, how you're working with your maintenance, production capacity, some of the things that you're doing out there.
Sure. Like I said, we have about 160 employees and another 15 or so permanent contract employees. Each plant, so we have 2 world-scale plants that were relocated. Each one produces about 3,000 tons per day, which is 1 million metric tons per day. Just to put it in more of our local units, that's about 4.4 billion pounds per year. Wow. So that's quite a large volume that we're producing there. And again, it's just methanol. We have about 200 acres at the site there in Geismar on the corner of Highway 73 and River Road.
I want to take a break. We come back, I want to talk about your team. I want to talk about the culture of the facility because I know how critically important those kinds of things are to safety and productivity and all of those things. We're visiting with Glynn Fontenot. He's the plant manager of Methanex Geismar, and you're watching the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.
It might be one of the most efficient, most effective methods of communications we've ever used.
What if I said that the American dream is alive and well, and that it exists for anyone willing to build it? That the power of a nation does not reside in its monuments, but in the hearts and minds of those who built them, and that the country's greatest heroes also wear hard hats. In today's America, it's not enough to dream about the future. You have to build it. Build your future at byf.org.
For more than 25 years, the TJC Group has been helping industry communicate and build relationships with communities, elected officials, and governmental agencies. We are the leading firm in the U.S. for the development, management, and facilitation of industry-based community advisory panels.
Whether you're building a new facility or you manage an existing business, let us put our community and governmental relations experience to work for you.
The TJC Group, facilitating solutions for business and industry.
Spadel's Florist was founded over 30 years ago. From my mom's kitchen, we have grown into one of the largest florists in this area. There's a sense in our community that you stick together, good times or bad, and oil and gas is part of that family. They're my neighbors, they're my customers, they're the person I'm sitting next to at church. If oil and gas is doing well, all of our businesses are doing well. We are Louisiana Oil and Gas.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Glynn Fontenot, plant manager of Methanex Geismar, is our guest. We talked about this process and some of the challenges of moving these two huge facilities from Chile to Geismar, Louisiana. And I think one of the things that's really important is, based on a lot of the growth that we've seen here in Louisiana, and as a result of that, you see all of these announcements that have been made. One of the interesting questions always is, why did a global company like Methanex choose Louisiana, and specifically Geismar, Louisiana?
Yeah, you know, the criteria that Methanex is looking for in choosing a location to produce methanol is, first of all, natural gas is not only the source of heat for our process, but it's also our raw material. We chemically convert it into methanol. So we're looking for a good, competitively priced source of natural gas that's reliably supplied, a good business-friendly government that we would work with, and very importantly, just having a good workforce. So Methanex literally scanned the globe and looking for the best place to produce methanol, and chose Geismar twice, you know, for both of our plants. So you know, very good indication of the type of business climate that we have here.
Talk about your team, Glynn. You mentioned 160 Methanex employees. I know, because you and I have had conversations offline about it before, how proud you are of that group. So let's talk about those employees, how competitive that process was in identifying and hiring those employees, and then we'll talk a little bit about the culture of the facility as well.
Yeah, you know, we're very lucky to be in a place like Geismar, where there is, the chemical industry is very mature there. Probably everybody in Ascension Parish, they have family members or know of good friends that work in the chemical industry. So, you know, we were so fortunate to hire 97% of our employees live in the area, and essentially all of them had done the job that they're doing now somewhere else. So we got good experienced people. We all had to learn the methanol business, but done an excellent job of picking that up, and I feel very blessed to have the group that we have. We're, you know, the kind of culture we're looking for, first of all, it's what we call responsible care. You know, it's an ethic in our industry association, and you know that has to do with having a very safe workplace, a healthy workplace for our employees, doing things the right way with regard to the environment, and then what we call social responsibility is a big part of responsible care, and that's important to Methanex. So, you know, again, we're just very lucky to get good, experienced people. We're very selective in our process, and very pleased with the quality of individuals that we've got on our team.
One of the things I talk about in my consulting firm, do work with a lot of the chemical industry, is that we always need to be connecting the products that are produced and how they impact our daily lives. So let's talk about methanol. So I'm a family, I'm at home. How does methanol improve the quality of my life on a daily basis?
Yeah, the way I like to describe it is that from the time you woke up this morning, you drove here in a car and you got here to your place of work, you've been surrounded by the descendants of the methanol molecule. Methanol is a really versatile chemical. Like a lot of the chemicals produced in this whole region, it's the first or second or third block of many that get to a consumer product. So methanol goes into things like the foam mattress and pillow that you slept on, a lot of different plastic components in a vehicle. If you drink out of a bottled water, the bottle's made from methanol. Many medicines, pharmaceuticals are made from methanol. So it's very versatile. What's been driving the demand and why we needed more capacity in our Methanex organization is its application in fuels. Just as we use ethanol here, methanol is like a first cousin to ethanol. It's used a lot in other regions of the world, particularly in China, and the growth there is very, very strong. So we're moving more and more of the methanol that's made in the world over to Asia for different fuel applications.
So a very versatile product that we find in just a number of applications that we impact and that impact us on a daily basis. Now, we got a little over 2 minutes left in this segment, so I want to talk about this. You and I are both Louisiana guys. You and I are both Evangeline Parish guys. I grew up in a little place called Pine Prairie. You grew up in a place a little bit larger than that, Ville Platte.
Well, you know, we consider it the major city in Evangeline Parish, and you know, we always appreciate our suburb cities like Pine Prairie, where the Johnsons resided.
Big place of 750 people, right? But here's the question, Glynn. You know, you're a Louisiana native, born and raised here, been here all your life. You know, you've traveled a little bit with your career, I know. But what does it mean to you personally to be the leader of a global operation in Louisiana, your native state? You know, and we talk all the time about how special this place is and how different it is. And, you know, you sort of are the embodiment of that. Talk about, from your personal perspective, how rewarding this must be.
It's funny you mentioned that because I just got back from a week-long vacation with my family in Washington, D.C. Spent a whole week there. All of us by day 6 or 7 were ready to get back to Louisiana. We landed in New Orleans and welcomed the heat, you know, the 86, 87 degree temperature. But no, I just feel so fortunate and blessed to have been able to spend my whole career here in South Louisiana. I've never been very far from the vicinity of I-10 where I lived or where I worked, and spending time in Evangeline Parish. It's a great place to grow up. Spent 4 years of my career in the Lake Charles area, Calcasieu Parish, and now really getting to get to know the good people of Ascension Parish. And you know, it's really a blessing for me. We have so many good, rich traditions here, and they're so easy to incorporate those into the workplace. We had a crawfish boil about a month ago in the parking lot, you know, after work, and just those things are so fun to do, and just such a big part of how we live down here in South Louisiana.
You know, those folks who aren't from Louisiana don't always quite understand it the way we do, and the way we love it and enjoy it. We'll take a break. We come back. I want to get into a little bit of Methanex community outreach, the work you're doing in the Geismar area and the greater Louisiana area. I want to talk a little bit about traffic and transportation issues and how they're impacting industry as well. We're visiting with Glynn Fontenot. He's the plant manager of Methanex Geismar, and you're watching the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Tim Johnson here for Gulf Coast Occupational Medicine. With some of the most knowledgeable and hardest working medical professionals in Louisiana and 8 convenient locations in Greater Baton Rouge, Gulf Coast provides injury management, physical exams, medical surveillance, and substance abuse testing. Once you know the folks at Gulf Coast, you'll realize they are your best option to protect your safety record and your bottom line. Gulf Coast Occupational Medicine. Ride the wave to safety.
For more than 20 years, the TJC Group has been helping companies assess their training needs and to develop programs that improve the effectiveness and productivity of their teams.
Training doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. Let us put our experience and expertise to work for you.
The TJC Group, facilitating solutions for business and industry.
What if I said that whatever good things you build, build you? And that in this economy, sweat never loses its value. What if I said that there isn't a challenge in the world too great for a craft professional with the right tools, and that the steps that lead from where you are to where you want to be can only be built by you? Build your future at byf.org.
Keene Miller traces its roots to the dawn of the petrochemical industry in Louisiana. As the legal needs of the sector grew, our firm emerged as a leader in environmental law, economic development, real estate, employment, utilities regulations, and more. Today, these same clients and those new to our state continue to rely upon the firm and its attorneys for creative ideas, practical advice, and Louisiana know-how. Industrial strength law. Learn more at keenemiller.com.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Glynn Fontenot, plant manager of Methanex Geismar, is our guest. We talked a little bit about the culture of Louisiana, how important it is to you personally to be the leader of a global enterprise that's here in our state. But you guys have done and are doing a great job with engagement in the local community. Talk a little bit about what you and your team are doing to sort of give back in the Geismar area and Ascension Parish generally.
Yeah, and again, it's a big part of how we do business in Methanex. You know, it's not really optional for us in any of our locations to not be involved in the community. Methanex believes that we have both financial resources and we have human resources, different talents that we can give back to the community. So we're involved in a number of different things. I like to talk about our United Way campaign. We've had 3 very successful United Way campaigns, and I'm very proud of the generosity of our employees. You know, so it's those kinds of things on the financial side. Just right now, we actually have a team that's helping to restore a park in Geismar in Ascension Parish, the Jackie Robinson Park. Need a little bit of a cleanup, so we've got a team there. In fact, I'm going there straight from here. We're very involved in the community advisory panel, which I see you on a monthly basis there, and where we get together with other companies and talk about with community members about what's important to them and what's going on in our plants and in our industry. And many different, we spend a lot of time with the ARC of Ascension Parish helping out that organization. So trying to have a good diversity, a good diversified portfolio of where we give back to the community.
Well, Meg Mahoney is someone that I've known for a long, long time, does a great job sort of organizing and leading your public affairs effort. You have fun with it too, though, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I enjoy that part. I feel like it's the same whether you're an individual like you and I living in a neighborhood, in a community, or a church, or you're a business, that you have an obligation to give of your talents and of your finances.
I know that being located in Ascension Parish along Louisiana Highway 30, Nicholson Extension as some people refer to it, is a great place to be by almost every factor but one, right? Traffic, exactly. Transportation issues. We talk a lot about those on this show, Glynn. We've talked a lot about and had representatives from Crisis, Capital Region Industry for Sustainable Infrastructure Solutions, a great group of industry representatives and other business representatives who are working to try to solve some of these problems. But it does impact you, right? The traffic issues, the transportation issues, the infrastructure issues. You have to be able to get your products and your people in and out of your facility. Talk about the impact on, that these transportation issues have on a facility like Methanex, and what your thoughts are.
No, that's exactly right, Tim. It's those 2 major areas. It's for our employees and then for us conducting our business. And on the employee side, it's become, traffic is a big part of quality of life. And as we talked earlier, all the great things we have in South Louisiana, and we have a great quality of life. This whole region is we get stressed by the traffic. So, if you spend an hour or two on top of the 10 or 12 hours that you work in a day, there's not much left over for family and personal time. So, we want to always be in a good location to attract quality people. So it certainly has an impact there. And then on the business side, primarily the different tools and materials and parts and pieces, and even we need processing chemicals to make our chemicals. They come in on 18-wheelers or big trucks, so that can interfere with timing and scheduling and maybe not doing our work on time. So definitely has a significant impact on our business and all of the petrochemical industry.
You guys are working with Crisis and with other facilities in the area to try to solve some of these. I was in a meeting yesterday with the parish presidents from Ascension and Iberville, talking with some transportation officials about some of those issues, and I know that there's a lot of work going on there. Hopefully we can put solutions in place that we can begin to work on quickly. Often we see that there are so many delays in the studies and the environmental impacts, but I know a lot of work's going on there. Got about 2.5 minutes left. Let's shift gears for just a minute. Our state is facing this huge fiscal deficit. Taxes have gone up on businesses. Taxes have gone up on Methanex. Every plant manager that I've spoken to, every business person that I've spoken to says we want to do our part to help solve this problem and really fund the necessary governmental programs that are out there. Talk about that impact of the additional taxes on Methanex. Give us your perspective in 45 seconds or so.
Sure. I think what our business and every business is looking for is just fairness in how we generate revenues for the state. It's certainly, I think several $1 billion of taxes were passed in about the last 8 minutes of the session, and it's not an insignificant impact. It wasn't in anybody's budget, these additional taxes. So it certainly has an impact, probably more in where companies choose to do business. The Gulf Coast is a great place to do business, but that's Texas to Florida.
Right.
So those kinds of things factor in a company making a decision.
And we want to see companies like Methanex continue to choose Louisiana to grow. About 30 seconds. Tell us what is on the horizon for your facility, Methanex Geismar.
No, we're really excited that we've gotten to the point that we've all been working hard to get to, and we've got both of our plants running as of very late last year. So this is the time for us all to get better at everything that we do. We really are striving to have a plant that's really exudes excellence in every aspect on the safety and environmental side, and efficiency and production and our involvement in the community, and really instill our culture. What's very important to me, that it's just a great place to work, that people don't dread coming to work and enjoy working with their other members of the team, and feel good about what they do and contributing to the success of Methanex.
Well, listen, I know Glynn Fontenot, and I know that if the culture is any reflection of the leader, it's a good place to work. Buddy, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Tim.
We're going to have you back on more as we go along to talk about developments and growth at Methanex Geismar.
Would be glad to do it.
That's a wrap, guys. Thanks for joining us. Join us again next week at this very same time for another edition of the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.